What's up, everybody? It's Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin back on the show as always. Good to have you, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Big week.
Major week, big week, trade deadline. And so we got a lot of moves. One of the busier trade deadline weeks I can remember. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of moves to be made, especially more towards I think it was 4 p.m. today.
Yeah, they
There was,
waited until the last possible minute to get a lot of these trades out.
oh yeah, and one of them broke my heart, but we'll talk about that later.
Man, your heart's broken. You're talking a Bears fan over here, but we'll get into it. Tons to talk about and a great week of football also. So let's start with Thursday night. The Ravens at the Bucks. Big game for both teams as both teams hovering around 500. Tom Brady and Tampa Bay trying to get back to 500. The Bucks lead at halftime 10-3, but the Ravens rally to get the win 27-22. Um, First of all, what do you think of the Ravens' performance going into Tampa and getting a big win on Thursday night?
Oh yeah, that was a major win, and I think that's a win that kind of sparks their a big winning streak coming up.
Yeah, they're
Uh, I think that's what they needed was the confidence to go into a hostile environment and win a big game.
yeah, and they did that. They got it done. Lamar Jackson goes for 250 plus yards, two touchdowns. Big key is no turnovers. Whenever I see that, the quarterback's done a great job giving his team a good chance to win. How about rookie tight end Isaiah Likely? Six catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. Um, Fourth round pick out of Coastal Carolina. Isaiah Likely getting it done in Baltimore.
Yeah, he gave them the spark that they needed, and you know they needed it big time.
Yeah, I mean, you got Mark Andrews and then you got Isaiah Likely. That's a good 1-2 punch. Also, veteran linebacker for the Ravens, Justin Houston, longtime Chief. He was on your Colts for a little bit. Records second week in a row with two sacks. He's now got six on the season. I mean, age is just a number to Justin Houston, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Father Time has not caught up to him yet.
Yeah, nice to see. I love it when the old guys are still getting it done. Um, Tom Brady throws for 300 plus yards and a touchdown, no turnovers. Mike Evans leads the team, six catches for 123 yards. The bad news for Tampa Bay, Dustin, star linebacker Shaq Barrett suffers a torn Achilles, out for the season. How big of a loss is that?
Well, let me tell you, that's a major loss because after watching Tampa play most of their games, because they're on prime time a lot, they don't have that pass rusher the caliber of Shaq Barrett. So
No,
that's
and it's a
pretty big.
massive loss, yeah. And it's going to be up to the young guys. They got some guys, second year Joe Tryon and rookie Logan Hall, that need to really step up in his absence.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to do something because for for the first time in a while, the goat might be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not willing to say that yet. I think they'll figure it out. They're in a bad division, so that helps. And all they need to do is sneak into the playoffs. They don't, you win that division, you host a playoff game. No one's really going to care about your record when you have Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, absolutely for sure.
Um, Big news for the Ravens though. So a big win on the road. They get to 5-3. They're leading the division, and they get richer. They trade my Chicago Bears for star linebacker Roquan Smith. Baltimore going all in, bro. They're trying to not just win the division. They're trying to make a run at a championship this year. What do you think? How big of a deal is it adding Roquan Smith to that defense?
Oh man, that's a huge pickup. I mean, him and Patrick Queen, that's gonna be a nasty combination to have to deal with.
Absolutely. I've been talking with a lot of Bears Twitter because we were obviously upset by the move. Roquan was probably the Bears' best player, and one of my favorite players in the league. Been following him since Georgia. He's always been a playmaker. Um, but in the Matt Eberflus defense, it was kind of a bad scheme fit for Roquan. And so he had his ups and downs this year. I think going to Baltimore, he's going to fit that defense a lot better. And I think he's in for a big second half of the season. What do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's another spark that the Ravens needed, and I think that they just got it.
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk to Pablo about this on Thursday.
And
We're gonna have him on the show.
let me say this, okay? So this is calling out the Colts, the Bears, the Packers, anybody else. That is a definition of wanting to win a championship, doing what you have to take, or doing what it takes to go out there and get that guy. I don't know why these organizations don't care.
Yeah, and it's a big difference between the ones that are aggressive and the ones that aren't. Remember last year the Rams were aggressive, adding Odell Beckham Jr. and Von Miller and those guys, and it led to a championship. Matthew Stafford too.
Yep, for sure.
So next week, week 9, the 3-4 Rams at the 3-5 Bucks. Tampa Bay looking to snap their 3-game losing streak. Two struggling teams here. How do you see this game going?
Oh, I mean, I think the Rams need it more just because the Seahawks and the Niners are pretty damn good in that division.
Yeah.
So
Tampa Bay needs it really bad too, though.
Tampa Bay does need it, but I don't trust that the Saints or the Falcons or even the Panthers are, as good as they've been playing lately. So
Yeah, I
I
can
am
see that.
I am definitely gonna go with the Rams need to win. So I'm gonna go with the Rams.
All right. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I trust the Bucks more. I trust Tom Brady. I feel like Stafford will, cost the team with a bad turnover at some point. And they just looked so bad. We're gonna get into that, but they looked a home game against the Niners with a chance to take, have pretty much a division lead, and the Rams just looked terrible on Sunday.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
I seen
yeah,
highlights of that game because they were playing at the same time when I was at Lucas Oil. So
yeah. So give me the Bucks, but that's gonna be a very hard fought game because the loser really is on the outside looking in for the playoffs. Imagine if either of these teams misses the playoffs.
oh man, that would be some crazy stuff.
For the Ravens, they get to 5-3. We'll see them on Monday Night Football in Week 9 at the 3-5 Saints. Advantage Baltimore, right?
I would say, yeah, definitely. But man, the Saints played pretty good on Sunday.
They played good. I don't think they're, you know, great. And anytime Andy Dalton's starting, over a healthy Jameis Winston, give me the opposing team. You
Oh,
can't. The Raiders put up 0 points. If the Raiders showed up, I think they would have won the game. But you put up 0 points. I mean, come on now.
I think ESPN could beg to differ. They're talking pretty high on Andy Dalton coming and winning that game.
Yeah, well, ESPN's still talking pretty high on LeBron James and the Lakers, and how's that going for him?
Not very good.
Let's go Sunday morning in London. A big, we're getting to the part of the season where it's must wins, almost on a weekly basis for a lot of teams. A must win on Sunday in London for two struggling teams, the 2-5 Broncos, the 2-5 Jags. I mean, Dustin, how come I'm not getting a good grip on these Broncos, right? I picked them for like 3-4 weeks in a row and they lost almost every game. I picked them to beat your Colts. I picked them to win multiple games. They couldn't get it done. Now they play the Jags and I pick against them. I pick Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, he's been playing good of late and they jump out to a 10-0 lead and blow it and lose 21-17. What do you think when you see these Broncos?
Oh man, I mean, you really couldn't help but pick against them because of the way that they've been struggling.
Yeah.
They've been struggling pretty bad. But to me, this says more about the Jags. I mean, I thought that the Jags were going to be way better, and giving up a 10-point lead is not helping.
Yeah. First of all, this is kind of what I was waiting for with the Broncos. It's a big win. They get back to 3-5, potentially a season-saving win. 3-5, you can still bounce back from that and go on a playoff run. Um, so we'll see if they can turn their season around. For Jacksonville, they fall to 2-6. I still believe in Trevor Lawrence. He had a bad game. He had two, major interceptions that cost his team, but I still like what I see in Trevor Lawrence. He's got very high upside, and the Jags just, they're still a couple years away in my opinion. It's a long building process in Jacksonville. I'm not ready to panic on them yet. I don't think they were ever, a playoff team this year. Did you?
No, and I love that you said that because, you know, Trevor Lawrence is still freshly new.
Yep.
You know, I mean, look at Daniel Jones. He's just now playing well after what he's been in the league, what, 5, 6 years now?
I think this is his fourth year, fourth or
Okay,
fifth. I think it's his fourth, but still, it takes quarterbacks a while, especially on bad teams.
absolutely. And so I mean, I've seen, people out there are giving up on Trevor, but don't do it because you put him on a good team, give him sensational talent around him, and I think he succeeds.
I agree, absolutely. And I like it when I see people on Twitter and fans of the NFL quitting on Trevor Lawrence already and calling him a bust. You know why I like it? Because me and you are gonna say pump the brakes. We still believe in Trevor, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna end up the right guys in the end, the smart ones, right?
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's not Jacksonville where we see Trevor Lawrence shine. Maybe it's, the NFL is getting crazy these days. It's turning into more of a business. Maybe Jacksonville decides to go in a different direction, and one of these, teams that are one need one quarterback need away from winning a championship gets their guy.
Man, if Jacksonville trades Trevor Lawrence, that's going to go down as one of the worst moves in franchise history, in my opinion. So
Well, I
we'll see if it happens.
I was talking about, like, if a couple years down the road they didn't re-sign him or something and they
Yeah.
wanted to go in a different direction. Well, he's out there for a team with talent.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You never know how it's going to go. I mean, it's interesting. Keep an eye on Zach Wilson with the Jets, Justin Fields with the Bears, Mac Jones with the Patriots, Trey Lance in San Francisco. Are they going to have job security long term or not? We don't know. It's too early.
Man, these quarterbacks are getting shut such short leashes.
Yeah, but that's the NFL. It's win now, always, and I mean the ones that aren't, fans get impatient in a hurry, and so do front offices, so do ownership groups. Um, so the Broncos, interesting move here by the Broncos as they get to 3-5, they get a big win, but then they go and trade linebacker Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins. What do you think of this move?
Well, let me tell you, the Dolphins pass rush just got better,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's a big loss for that defense that was keeping them in these games. I mean, because Denver really wasn't getting beat, too bad by any team that they played this year. And it was that defense, with Browning over there.
Yep.
Him and Chubb were balling out this season.
Yeah, and so interesting move for Denver. They're gonna go younger and see what the kids can do. And we'll keep an eye on the Dolphins. A big move from Miami getting Bradley Chubb. Looking ahead to week 9, the 2-5 Raiders at the 2-6 Jags. Jacksonville, after starting the season 2-1, are now on a 5-game losing streak. Big game here as the Raiders just got shut out by the Saints. So the Raiders are going to be fired up going into this game. How do you see this one going? Raiders at Jags.
Ooh, Raiders at Jags. Give me the Jags, man. The Raiders are struggling.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you. Give me the Jags. The Raiders need to prove it. They look, I picked the Raiders to go into New Orleans and get a big win over the Saints, and they couldn't do that. So, I don't know what to think of the Raiders. We'll talk more about them coming up, but maybe Josh McDaniels is the problem.
Yeah, for sure. And for the Jags, I have definitely seen improvement overall with, especially with Peterson being a coach. I mean, he's definitely improved that team because they're in these games and they're playing a lot better.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't take much to do better coaching job than they had last year with Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that still surprises me. I thought Meyer would have done better.
Yeah. Broncos get to 3-5. They go to their bye week. They snap a 4-game losing streak. So we'll see if they can get some answers, you know, during the bye week. Russell Wilson did play better in that game in London. And maybe, they come out of the bye and play with some more urgency. We'll see on the Broncos. Um, let's go Panthers at Falcons. One of the best games of the weekend as the Falcons beat the Panthers 37-34 in overtime. A huge win for the Falcons as they get back to 500, now 4-4 and leading the division. How about the Falcons leading that division right now?
Yeah, that's what a surprise. I thought the Falcons were going to be one of the worst teams in the league, but I was wrong. And kudos to Marcus Mariota, man. He's playing well. I'm getting excited talking about him because I've always liked Marcus, and he has Atlanta in first place.
Yeah, incredible job by him filling in. The guys like Marcus Mariota and Geno Smith really stepping up this year. Credit to Arthur Smith, the head coach, getting the most out of that team. And who knows, maybe they will be, if they can keep this up, they might come down to the wire, maybe make the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe they win the division and host a playoff game. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, because I mean, the the division is definitely there for the taking.
Yeah. Um, Lorenzo Carter, a Falcons defensive end, former Giant, records his second career interception and first career pick six right before halftime to put the team up 14-10. Um, DJ Moore drops a 4th and 17 conversion attempt with less than 2 minutes remaining. That was big. But then he totally redeems himself with a 62-yard touchdown catch in the final seconds of the game. But so this is what got me, it was confusing because he makes the catch and the stadium loses its mind. The announcers lose their mind. And DJ Moore, as he's stepping out of bounds out of the back of the end zone, takes off his helmet and celebrates. And the refs throw a flag for, was it like unsportsmanlike conduct for taking off his helmet, which they enforce on the extra point, 15 yards, and makes it a 48-yard extra point. And Eddie Pinheiro misses it, sending the game to overtime instead of winning by 1 point. What did you think of that whole scenario? My take is this. You just made the game-winning catch, the catch of the year pretty much, you know, and the NFL punishes you for celebrating. I understand the if your helmet comes off and you continue playing, it's a penalty for player safety. But I don't understand taking your helmet off when the play is over and you're celebrating a touchdown. I don't get that. What do you think on that?
Um, I don't like the call just for the simple fact that he was out of bounds.
Yep.
Once that happens, the play is pretty much dead.
Yeah, and if you're out of bounds, who cares if you take your helmet off?
Yeah, because you know you can't hit nobody when they're out of bounds. Once that happens, the play is stopped. You know,
Yeah.
so but again, you know, I can't blame him because it was a moment of happiness because of the way that he caught that ball and he put his team, with a chance to win the game.
Yeah. Play of the
You know,
game. would have been a massive win for the Panthers. And I just think that let's stop over officiating these kids and let them have some fun out there. It goes back to, remember back in the day they would flag any touchdown celebration. The NFL is always doing this petty shit, and it's like, relax, man. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
um, definitely, man. But I don't know, man. These refs this year have been terrible overall.
yeah, well, it's earned its nickname, the No Fun League.
Yep.
The Panthers might have a kicker issue, as Eddie Pinheiro not only missed that extra point, but he had a chance to redeem himself in overtime, a 33-yarder to win the game, and he missed it. Might be time for Carolina to find a new kicker. We had Eddie Pinheiro in Chicago, and he sucked.
Yeah, Panero's not a good kicker, and I'm surprised he still has a job. But unfortunately, a lot of kickers are hard, seem to be hard to find nowadays. A lot of kickers seem to struggle.
Yeah, either you have a kicker or you don't. And the ones that don't have a kicker are constantly signing free agents and cutting them and trying to find one. The Bears got lucky with Cairo Santos, but he used to be one of those guys. I mean, you cut Eddie Pinheiro, you're not gonna find much in the free agency pool.
Yeah, yep, that's very true.
Um, so massive win for the Falcons. Kicker Youngwei Koo hits a 41 yarder in overtime, and the Falcons get a massive win. Um, Big nice game from Kyle Pitts, 5 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. He's starting to get it going. How about PJ Walker? On that 62-yard touchdown pass, PJ Walker did everything in his power to deliver a win.
Yeah, man, he's played well the last couple games, and
Yeah.
you know, uh, is is Baker hurt or did Baker just get benched?
No, I think Baker's hurt. Let me look that up real quick. But PJ's got it right now, and I think the Panthers are kind of like considering this a lost season.
Yep.
Um, so I'm looking right now for a Baker Mayfield injury. It says right here, healthy Baker Mayfield gets benched, told he's no longer the starting quarterback. So interesting.
Wow. And you went and traded for him.
Yeah. I mean, they went and traded for Sam Darnold too and benched him. So Panthers, maybe that's their thing, is kind of lose out and try to get a quarterback in the draft. We'll see. Maybe was it Matt Corral gets an opportunity too.
Yeah, I mean, you had your chance several times to get a quarterback. You passed up on
Yeah.
Fields and then Willis and then
Mac Jones and a lot of
yeah,
different guys. Kenny
Herbert.
Pickett. Yep. A lot of guys. The Falcons trade suspended wide receiver Calvin Ridley to the Jags. Talk about giving, Trevor Lawrence some more weapons. When Calvin Ridley gets back off that suspension, there's a guy for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's a pretty big pickup. That's bigger than what people think it is.
Yeah, I agree. The Falcons also acquire corner Rashad Fenton from the Chiefs. So some corner help, and then they trade safety Dean Marlowe to the Bills. So the Falcons were busy at the trade deadline.
Yeah, yep. They most definitely were.
So for week 9, it's going to be the 4-3 Chargers at the 4-4 Falcons. I don't anticipate Atlanta to keep this up, and the Chargers are a better team than 4-3, aren't they? The Chargers should go into Atlanta and get a win, but who knows these days?
They should, but you know, LA Chargers have not looked too impressive lately. So,
No, they haven't.
you know,
So
I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta pulls off the upset.
yeah, that'd be crazy. That's something we'll have to look forward to. Talk about next week. The 2-6 Panthers at the 4-3 Bengals. Bengals coming off a bad loss on Monday night. I fully anticipate the Bengals to bounce back next week, don't you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we're going to talk about that. That was a terrible look for Cincy on Monday night, but we'll get into that here in a few. The Bears go into Jerry World against the Dallas Cowboys. No Zeke Elliott, and the Bears coming off a big win in Foxborough. So could they go on the road back to back weeks and get big wins and get above 500? The answer, or get back to 500? The answer is no. They get down 28-7 early in the game and lose 49-29 to the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, has a big game. Tony Pollard. How about Tony Pollard stepping in for Zeke and combining for 147 yards and 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, Pollards look good this season, and Dallas has a legit double-headed monster at running
Yes.
back. When Zeke is healthy, he plays well, and Pollard playing well. That's a very dangerous combination.
Now, a lot of people are saying this. I want your take on this. A lot of people are saying, look, Zeke doesn't have it anymore. Get rid of Zeke and make Tony Pollard your number one running back. A lot of teams have a two running back offense. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, keep Zeke, man. I mean, have you not watched him play this season? At times, if you feed him, he's still a reliable back.
Exactly. And I don't get this obsession with wanting to move on from running backs. It's the whole like running backs don't matter and they want to punish the Cowboys for Zeke's contract. Zeke is still doing his thing. Even if he's the number two running back behind Pollard, he's very valuable, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Micah Parsons, this is surprising to me, scores his first career defensive touchdown. I would have thought he already had one, being the playmaker and disruptor that he is. Returns a fumble, 36 yards for a touchdown in this game. And a lot of people are going to make a big deal about Justin Fields jumping over him and not touching him down. I don't blame Fields for that. He didn't really know what was happening and is jumping to avoid getting rolled up on and getting an injury.
Oh, yeah. And, man, let me tell you, Alex, that guy, Michael Parsons, is a dude. And he's
Yes, he is.
special.
He's a
He,
monster.
and speaking of that, I want to say something like, oh, it's just it's a struggle watching the Bears on TV. No offense, man, but the offense just poor Fields once again doing everything he can, and then he throws a deep bomb, and the ball couldn't even get caught downfield. Like, come on, Bears.
I wanna take this opportunity to remind folks that a certain group on Twitter, on Bears Twitter, was calling Valus Jones, the rookie wide receiver who you just mentioned with that big drop. That was a big drop, and he's fumbled 2 punts. One of them cost us the game against the Commanders. They were calling Valus Jones Debo Light, Debo Samuel Light in the offseason. And this just goes to show me and remind me that people that take these outrageous takes without seeing a guy produce in the NFL and want to call him Debo Samuel, like, come on now. I never liked Valus Jones coming out of Tennessee. He seemed like a special teams guy. A lot of people are saying don't overreact. He's still a rookie. He's still learning. He's going to get better. So far, man, I haven't seen anything out of Valus Jones. And those Debo Light comments just make me more and more frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can understand why. But so when we were talking earlier, I think our viewers should know that what you came up with. There was a plan you were talking about with Ryan Poles. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, but some of that's changed. And we'll get into that here in a second. I mean, the Bears trade away Roquan Smith to the Ravens, and that had a lot of people upset. Some people liked it, most people did not. And it felt like at the time that the Bears GM Ryan Poles just wanted to get everybody out of Chicago that was from the previous regime. He wanted all his guys, and that's what it felt like. But since then, today they trade for Steelers wide receiver Chase Claypool. And that's a bit of a game changer right there because that goes to show there's still pressure on Justin Fields, but if you're gonna go make a trade for Chase Claypool, that kind of shows me that maybe you are behind Justin Fields, right? You're giving him some help at least. And I expect Justin Fields to look better the second half of the season. I mean, immediately, this goes to show you how bad the Bears receiving core is that Chase Claypool immediately becomes the best receiver on the roster. Mooney falls back into his natural spot at wide receiver 2, and Claypool becomes the Bears number 1. Um, what do you think?
Okay, this is where we're gonna disagree. Okay, so
Uh,
I think Claypool's good, and I think given the right system and everything, he could be a beast. I mean, he has the body, the speed, the athleticism, and I think going to Chicago is going to be a change, and I think he plays well for you guys.
well, and he does have, I mean, you could make an argument that this is the best quarterback play he's had in his career because he played for 2 years under an old Big Ben. Um, and then now Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett. So coming to Chicago to catch balls from Justin Fields, I think Claypool and Fields could have a hell of a combination.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
But to this point, you can understand some skepticism as Chase Claypool's numbers are well, they're about what they have been, but he's never caught more than 62 passes so far in his career. I think that we all anticipated more than that, right?
Yes.
And so maybe Fields can get that out of him. I'm looking forward to it. I'll give Claypool an opportunity in Chicago, absolutely. Like I said, he's the best receiver we have now by far. I like Mooney, but Claypool's upside and his, big body ability to just throw it up to him and he can go get it is something that was severely lacking. And a lot of Bears fans were hoping N'Keal Harry was going to be that guy. Chase Claypool is a much better option than that.
Yep, for sure.
So we'll see how he looks with a fresh start in Chicago. What were your thoughts on the Bears trading Roquan Smith away?
Uh, well, I mean, you being a big fan of Roquan Smith, that was actually the first thing was like, man, I was like, I know Alex being a Bears fan is not gonna like this one, but
Yeah,
then me being passionate about the sport and all that, and having my takes on it, man, you can't trade your best player. I mean, come on, Bears, he was your heart and soul, and instead of rebuilding, build around him. You
yeah,
know,
he should have been a foundational piece on that defense. And but some people have said, he's not in the right scheme, not a good scheme fit in Chicago with Matt Eberflus. So, I guess it makes some sense. And honestly, I was angry about it yesterday. Now that we've got Claypool, I've kind of calmed down on it. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing Roquan Smith on the Ravens. As much as I'm a Bears fan, I'm a fan of the NFL. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he looks in Baltimore. So I can't be too pissed about it. Whatever. The Bears were never doing anything this year, anyways, right?
yeah, and I mean, but the good thing is history shows that the Bears usually draft pretty good at linebacker. So there's always hope. I think that they can get a pretty good linebacker in the draft again.
Yeah, we'll see if we can replace him. Real quick, I had this debate on Twitter today. Who do you think is the better linebacker in their prime? Roquan Smith or Lance Briggs?
Ooh, you're hitting me with a hard one.
Yeah, I said Roquan Smith is better, but some
I don't.
people some people told me I'm crazy.
That's the thing, Alex. Is I don't think Roquan has even hit his prime yet.
I know, me neither.
And
And a big point that I had, Lance Briggs had Urlacher next to him. Imagine Roquan Smith with Urlacher next to him.
ooh, that's pretty nasty. And yeah, Roquan hasn't even hit his prime yet, and he's leading the league for the second year in a row in tackles.
Yeah, good stat.
So, it's like this. Man, at the end of the day, give me Roquan Smith.
Yep,
That was
I
a hard.
agree. Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a good one. I agree. It's a good debate. Week 9, the 5-3 Dolphins at the 3-5 Bears. Dolphins have had our number for a long time. You know, the for whatever reason, the franchise, the Miami Dolphins, seems to spoil the Bears. They've beat the Bears multiple times when they wwere undefeated. You know, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0. On Sunday, give me the Dolphins over the Bears in Soldier Field. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to keep rolling.
Yeah, and if they win, they'll be back on a 3-game winning streak. Remember when they were 3-3, and it was like, let's go into the bye week, let's hit the reset button, let's get Tua back, and let's go on a winning streak, right?
Yeah, and you can definitely tell too was the difference.
Yeah, yep. Cowboys go into their bye week at 6-2. How do you feel about the Cowboys right now? Big win over the Bears to get the 6-2. The Giants lose, and now they're tied with the Giants. Eagles are undefeated still. How do you see that NFC East shaping up?
Oh, ultimately, I think the Eagles are just way more talented than the Giants and the Cowboys.
Yeah,
But it's going to come close to between the Cowboys and the Eagles, in my opinion.
and do you
So,
think so? I'm assuming you think the Cowboys are better than the Giants.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I
talented
agree.
wise, roster wise, yeah, I give the edge to the Cowboys. I mean, you know, also putting up 49 points in an NFL game is pretty impressive. Like
Yeah,
teams struggle to score 21 and you put up 49.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Cowboys, Eagles. That's going to be interesting. Some big games late in the season there. So between the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. So I can't wait for those games. Let's go. The 4-3 Dolphins at the 1-5 Lions. Head coach Dan Campbell going against his old team. He was the Dolphins' interim head coach in 2015. Went 5-7 while he was their coach. Uh, Lions start out hot, jump out to a 14-0 first quarter lead, remain competitive throughout the game, but the Dolphins rally to win 31-27 in Ford Field. Tua throws for 400 or combines for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Great game from Tua. Tyreek Hill leads the team 12 catches, 188 yards. Um, I mean, credit to the Lions. They kept it competitive, but a good win for the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you know what, man? The Lions have to learn to finish. They are in almost every single game they play,
Yeah,
and
it's
their
true.
problem is you can't finish.
Yep. And I mean that's going to come with a better quarterback play and growing up as a roster. It's a young team, it's a young roster, and they need to learn how to win. And Dan Campbell needs how to learn how to coach to win. You know, I think they're still so caught up in the rebuild. They're still mid rebuild that it's going to take a while to start winning these close games.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't like the fact that they traded away TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah. So TJ Hawkinson and in division, the Lions trade TJ Hawkinson to the Vikings. I think Lions fans are going to be just as upset as I was about Roquan. I mean, TJ Hawkinson was supposed to be a young building block of that franchise, and to give him away, especially to a division rival, very confusing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is your offense.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the young guys that you're building around. You're talking Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, and TJ Hawkinson, along with Panay Sewell, right? And Frank
Yeah,
Ragnow.
and Jamison Williams.
Yeah, and on that point, Jamison Williams might not play this year now.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And
And
I
that
don't.
just goes to show you how long of a rebuild it's going to be. Like one of the biggest draft picks last year might not play this year at all.
Yeah, but tell me how the Lions have been in a rebuild for what seems like a decade now. How long is this rebuild going to be?
Well, that's what happens, right? That's what happens when you hire the Patriot GM, I believe it was Quinn, and the Patriot head coach, Matt Patricia. That's what happens when you bring in the Patriot way in Detroit and try to build it that way, and it fails. So then you're stuck rebuilding again. I mean failed, regimes lead to rebuild after rebuild after rebuild. And that's what the Lions are in the middle of right now.
Yeah, I just man, as long as the
So,
Ford family owns that team, I just don't see them ever competing for a championship.
yeah. Yeah, and we'll see if they can get it right. It's going to start with getting the right quarterback. Maybe if they go get CJ Stroud, that will, spark them in the right direction.
Yeah, man, because CJ is man, he's gonna be special.
um, Dolphins trade for Bradley Chubb from the Broncos and also acquire running back Jeff Wilson from the 49ers. Dolphins doing everything in their power to load up right now.
Yeah, Dolphins got better and got
Yep.
better quick.
How do you, I mean, they're 5-3, but it's still a tough division. The Bills are going to win that division. So you're talking about trying to get a wild card spot in a loaded AFC. I mean, the Dolphins are loading up, but there's a chance they might not make the playoffs. I mean, maybe if they get hot, they get 11 or 10 wins, then all right. But um, do you think they should be loading up and being this aggressive when the Bills are clearly the favorites?
Well, I mean, you have to do what you have to do to be able to win ball games, and if that includes going to get players you know, who are great players and can help you produce and win you football games, of course.
Well, let me reword the question. This is the actions of a team going all in to win a Super Bowl, trading for Bradley Chubb, trading for Jeff Wilson, bringing in Tyreek Hill and Raheem Mostert in the offseason. Um, do you think this team is capable of going on a championship run? Because let me go ahead and jump in. I don't think they're capable of that.
Playoffs, yes. Championship run, no.
Exactly. So maybe the Dolphins are flawed a little bit in this process. And it starts to me, I don't trust that head coach. I'm not a Mike McDaniel guy. When I see him they were showing him breaking down the locker room after the win over the Lions, and man, I get strong Mark Trestman vibes,
That's not
which
good.
is which is kind of a nerdy guy, maybe a great offensive play caller, but not a leader of men. Do you think that's a fair critique?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see what the Dolphins do. I mean, if they get up back on a 3-game winning streak on Sunday and beat the Bears, then I'll have to be somewhat quiet if they get to 6-3. Packers 3-5 Packers at the 1-6 Lions in Week 9. What would you think if I had told you the Packers 3-5 in Week 9? If I had told you that this last offseason?
Oh man, I would tell you you're crazy, but then I'm not surprised because they let Devontae Adams go and they didn't seem to have no sense of urgency trying to go get anybody else.
And I posted this today. Devontae Adams is a massive loss, but I think there's one guy that's a bigger loss, and that's surprising. But he's having a monster year. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Um the Dubes or Dobbs.
Nope. No, bigger loss. Who did they
Oh,
lose this offseason that's a massive loss right now?
oh, Valdez Scantling.
Nope.
No.
Zadarius Smith.
Oh yeah, okay, okay. Playing over there in Minnesota. Yep.
Yes, leading the league in sacks and tackles for loss. Right?
Yeah,
Packers sure could use that right now, huh?
yeah. But I thought that they were gonna be okay because they went and got the Georgia. They went through the Georgia pipeline in the
Yeah,
draft,
they
and I
went. Well, they got Quay Walker and that defensive tackle Wyatt, right?
yeah,
Um, um, I mean, we saw Quay Walker get kicked out of the game last night. I like Quay Walker, but I don't know. The biggest issue in Green Bay is offense. How do you see the Packers at the Lions going in Week 9 on Sunday?
oh, I think that the Lions can sneak this upset. And if you want to beat the Packers, now is the time when their backs against the wall and they're on their heels and not playing very well.
All right, I agree with you. I'm picking the Lions to win this game. And let me jump in real quick. You can't call Aaron Rodgers the best quarterback in football if he can't beat the Lions.
I mean, I'm not saying he's the best right now. That's Josh Allen, and I mean that's debatable still, but you know you can win that argument by just looking at Josh Allen's stats. But anyway,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can say Aaron Rodgers is back-to-back MVP.
yeah, that's facts. And let's think about this, Alex. Let's be honest. Deep down, Aaron Rodgers knows he made a mistake coming back.
Yeah, I agree. He should have gone to Denver.
Denver, or some other team out there could have used him. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, San Francisco before. I mean, Trey Lance
That
could have behind Rod.
that would just be unfair if he went to San Francisco.
Hey, Brady going to the Bucks at first was unfair, but
Yeah.
you
And
know,
that's the thing, man. At this age in his career, Aaron Rodgers should be only thinking about championships. And so that's my criticism is why are you going back to Green Bay, who's losing Devontae Adams and Zadarius Smith, and thinking you're going to take a step in the right direction after 3 years in a row of being the like what the number one seed and you can't get it done in the playoffs?
money.
Man, mistake. Let's keep it with the M's. He chose money, and that was a mistake, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Because I know Russell Wilson is a great quarterback, but he doesn't have the chemistry with Nathaniel Hackett that Rodgers did, and it seems like Hackett's not giving Russell Wilson much say. But if Rodgers was to go to Denver, Denver would have loaded up even more.
Yeah, I agree. Um, let's go Cardinals at Vikings. Vikings should have beat the Cardinals last season, but their kicker missed the game-winning kick, and so the Cardinals got a big win that kept them undefeated. When they went on that big run. So the Cardinals are always a tough matchup for Minnesota. Vikings, who are red hot, 5-1 to start the year, they jump out to a 14-3 lead and hang on to win 34-26. Um, but they get the job done. The Cardinals offense couldn't get it done. It was a one-score game late, 8 minutes to go, I believe. And the Kyler Murray throws a pick. They turn the ball over on downs twice. So 3 turnovers in a row to end the game. Something's obviously wrong in Arizona, don't you think?
Yeah, and I could not tell you what it is. I mean, Arizona just needs a coaching change.
Yes. Kyler Murray needs a tough-minded head coach. He needs, bro, you know who could get Kyler Murray to get his head screwed on straight and start winning?
Who's that?
Sean Payton.
Sean Payton can do that to almost anybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like Cliff Kingsbury is actively hurting Kyler Murray, and you're seeing Kyler Murray. He doesn't respect Cliff Kingsbury. You see him yelling at him on the sidelines. It's an unhealthy relationship, and I wouldn't expect anything else out of Cardinals management to allow this to happen.
Yeah, and I mean that's your franchise guy, man, and you can't have that kind of hostility in the locker room between your coach and your franchise quarterback.
Yeah, it's just not gonna work. Did you see DeAndre Hopkins make that one-handed touchdown catch? I mean, he had a great first game back, I believe 10 catches. He had 12 on Sunday for 159 and a touchdown. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins obviously have chemistry. It's just not leading to wins.
Yeah, and again, that's the culture. That's not them two. It's the culture of what Arizona's going through right now. But
Do you
man,
think do you think it's fair to lump Kyler Murray in there also and say he's part of the problem because interception, turnover on downs, some inaccurate throws, some misreads, some tip passes. Kyler needs to wear some of that, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't 100% say that it's Cliff Kingsbury's fault. He doesn't go out there and throw the ball. He doesn't go out there and perform. And Kyler knows when he plays bad. I mean, if you watch his press conferences, he takes ownership of it. But
Yeah.
it's the fact that you know, I mean, maybe is it starting to come down to watching like a film? I don't know.
Part of it, yes. Part of it is not enough because I'm sure he watches some film. It's just that others, I believe Kirk Cousins is studying more film, And
Yeah,
so Kyler, whether he studies some, that isn't enough. He needs to put more work in, I believe.
and real quick, man, DeAndre Hopkins, he's still DeAndre Hopkins, if not better.
Oh yeah. He missed half the season last year. He missed half the season this year. But when he's on the field, he's making outstanding plays. He might be the most uncoverable wide receiver in the game.
Yeah, I mean that's debatable, but
Who do
he's up
you think who do you think's the best? I mean, Hopkins is right there with anybody.
this year, bro. AJ Brown, man, he's
Yes, he's
he's
an
had
absolute
an
monster.
incredible year.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, we were just talking about him. Zadarius Smith, 3 sacks in this game, 8.5 on the season, tied for the NFL lead, a clutch sack in the final seconds. He's an absolute monster. How did Green Bay let him go in division, huh?
Yeah, I don't know, but let me tell you, you may not think it, but Minnesota's for real.
They're they should win the division. I'll give them that. So they should host a playoff game. They've got enough to win a playoff game. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Vikings do in the divisional round. I'm ready to put them there already, and I want to see if they get it done. Kirk Cousins needs to prove he's proven he's gone into New Orleans and beat Drew Brees, so he can do it. Um, but he needs to prove he can get past the divisional round. So I'm looking forward to it, and it starts on defense with guys like Zadarius Smith and Harrison Smith and Patrick Peterson, who played great in this game. Those guys need to help him out. Dalvin Cook, etc.
Yep, for sure.
Um, and I think, bro, tell me if you agree with this. Firing Mike Zimmer and hiring Kevin O'Connell is one of the best moves the Vikings could have done. I'm not usually a fan of these McVay tree coaches, but I kind of like Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell seems nice. And by the way, speaking of Mike Zimmer, rest in peace to his son.
Yeah, yeah, tough news today. He's only 38 years old. That sucks.
Yeah, so I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, yep. Um, JJ Watt, the Cardinals veteran, still doing his thing. If I can't believe it's 2022 and we're still talking about JJ Watt getting 2 sacks in a game.
Yeah, I mean, the Watt boys, man, they were bred to play football. They're just
Yeah, they're monsters. We knew it watching JJ Watt back at Wisconsin, huh?
yeah. I mean,
2 sacks, 4.5 on the season, 106 for his career.
wow.
Hall of
You
Famer for sure.
oh yeah.
Vikings land TJ Hawkinson. Irv Smith Jr. goes down with a high ankle sprain, expected to be out 8 to 10 weeks. I'm a big fan of Irv Smith Jr. and his dad, Irv Smith, but the injuries keep biting him in the ass. They go and get TJ Hawkinson. Now, that's a hell of an ad for Minnesota.
Yeah, for sure. So trivia for you. Where did Irv Smith play his college ball?
Too easy, Notre Dame.
Okay, good job.
um, Vikings at Commanders in Week 9. 6-1 Vikings at the 4-4 Commanders. Keep an eye on this one. This could be an upset.
Yeah, for sure, man, because Taylor Henneke is that guy.
Yep, he
He
is. Yeah. You saw him. You saw him firsthand.
yeah, let's not talk about that though.
but But you've always liked Taylor Henneke. You were telling me for a couple of years now to keep an eye on Taylor Henneke, and I always laughed at you.
Yeah, because I mean, if you watch him play, you can tell he has it. He
He
just
has
makes
that it factor, it seems, and I really saw it in that game this weekend. And we'll talk about that more here in a second.
yeah,
Um, Seahawks at Cardinals, 5-3 Seahawks at the 3-5 Cardinals. Look, this is a must-win for the Cardinals. It's a division game. It's at home. You don't want to fall to 3-6. If you go back to where they were undefeated last year, and you take after they were undefeated until now, their record is abysmal,
yep, yep.
And so this is an absolute must win against Seattle. Do you think the Cardinals can get this done?
You know what, Alex? I don't think so because man, I think Gino's gonna quit or keep playing well,
Yeah. Seahawks are playing some really good ball right now.
and I don't know if you're gonna agree with me, but this is Pete Carroll's best coaching job so far.
I
You
mean,
know,
he's doing a hell of a job. I loved the job he did early in Russell Wilson's career as well, and the developing of that Legion of Boom. I
yeah.
mean, let's be real. Pete Carroll has had a career of great seasons, great performances, great jobs as coach. Going back to USC, going back to early days in Seattle. I mean, he's earned it, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And his USC teams were some of the greatest teams in college football history. So
Absolutely. We got
you
to
know,
give him due. And he looks really young for his age. He's 70 plus and he still looks good out there.
oh yeah, man, moving and the energy he brings. I would love to play for Pete Carroll.
Absolutely.
You know, but the reason why I say that is because he's playing with a quarterback that we had, or he's 5-3 with a quarterback that we all had questions about. And
Yeah.
Russell was the franchise guy, and everybody wrote off Seattle.
Oh yeah. I didn't
And
think they were going to win 5 games all season.
and the fact that he's 5-3, 2 games above 500 so far,
Yeah,
with
leading the division,
that's impressive.
very impressive. Absolutely. And I agree though. I think it's a trap game. I could see the Cardinals winning this. So we'll see if Seattle brings it to Arizona, to Phoenix, because they're going to need it. I think the Cardinals' backs are against the wall. I think they play the best game of the season on Sunday, honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm still going Seattle.
all right. Raiders at Saints. So, this is a big opportunity against an undermanned Saints team for the Raiders to get back to get back to back wins, get some positive momentum and save their season. Instead, it's a big loss having Darren Waller out, but instead they get shut out 24-0 in the Superdome by the Saints. Uh, Good game from Andy Dalton, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Big game from Alvin Kamara, who right now looks damn near unstoppable. 158 combined yards and 3 touchdowns. How about Alvin Kamara right now? He looks like he's still in his prime.
Oh yeah, he's playing some great ball, and you know that's part of the reason why the Saints are. Where are they? Like 3-5?
3-5, but kind of saving their season a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Saints defensive end. Do you remember Peyton Turner out of Houston?
Um, I
He
do
was
recall the name.
a first round pick for the Saints out of Houston. He records 2 sacks in the game, which is his career high. Only 1 sack in 2021. Kind of keep an eye on Peyton Turner. Uh, I think he starts to step up his game. I always liked him coming out of Houston. Um, Derek Carr throws for just 101 yards and 1 interception. The Raiders' leading receiver, Mac Hollins, 7 catches for 64 yards. And get this stat: Devontae Adams held to just 1 catch for 3 yards.
Wow.
Yep. You know who's regretting their decision more than anyone right now, I think it's Devontae Adams. His body language. Remember when he shoved that camera guy after a bad loss? I
Yep.
just feel like Devontae is having a rough year, and missing Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah, and I mean, and the fact that Derek Carr's been so underperforming.
Yeah, that's one of my coldest takes in a while. Calling Derek Carr an MVP candidate this year.
I mean, it's not a bad take simply for the fact that he should be.
He had weapons all around him, but let me ask you this: should Josh McDaniels already be on the hot seat in Vegas?
Yeah, and he is because of Vegas is a big time market, and they're not going to play with losing over there.
And the fact that Josh McDaniels bombed so badly his first time as head coach, just to be struggling out the gate, Raider fans and the organization's got to be like, oh shit, did we make a big mistake?
Yeah, and there's a difference from being a great offensive coordinator and a great coach.
Absolutely. And the Raiders have an opportunity, just like they had on Sunday. They could have beat the Saints. In New Orleans in the Superdome is always tough. How about in Jacksonville against a struggling Jags team? Come on, Raiders, go into Jacksonville, get a big win, get to 3-5. Who knows? But it starts on Sunday, week 9. If you fall to 2-6, go ahead and write them off.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I think this is a disappointing year, especially when they have the talent, and there should be no excuse to be 2-5 right now.
No, absolutely not. So we'll see if they can turn it around against the Jags. Um, 5-3 Ravens at 3-5 Saints on Monday night. Big game. Give me the Ravens there. I don't, good win for the Saints to get to 3-5. I don't trust these Saints. That's why I think the NFC South is still wide open. I still think Tampa Bay gets it done. I don't trust Atlanta. I don't trust the Saints, and I certainly don't trust the Panthers. Do you agree?
Yeah, yep, for
All right.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, weird division this year. Let's go AFC East battle. The Patriots at the Jets. Real quick trivia. When's the last time the Jets have beaten the Patriots? How long ago?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with more than 10 years.
Not quite 10 years, but their last win over the Patriots was in 2015.
Okay, so I was a little close.
You were close. Patriots have won 13 straight over the Jets after beating them 22-17 in MetLife Stadium on Sunday. The Jets played them tough, kept it close, but the Patriots get it done in the end. Good performance from Mac Jones. Ramondre Stevenson continues to carry the load for the Patriots in the running game. How about Ramondre Stevenson getting it done? He to me seems like a future star. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, he's gonna be good, and that's the Bill Belichick offense is creating great running backs and developing quarterbacks. That's what he's good at.
Do you think Mac Jones can kind of breathe a little bit? Do you think he's separating himself enough from Bailey Zappi to keep the job?
See that I still haven't seen enough yet.
Yeah.
I mean, but based on his performance last year, he didn't play too bad, and it's his job until he plays terrible.
Yeah, it's his job to lose, right?
Yeah, for sure, and he knows that, and I think Bill's probably reminded him of that almost every week.
Yep.
You know,
I,
what's best?
absolutely.
Uh, what's the best way to make a starting quarterback perform well? Have somebody behind you who's just as good and is going to put pressure on you.
Yeah, put pressure on him and then run the ball and play good defense. And Bill Belichick knows all the keys to making a quarterback friendly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do you feel week 9? You're 3-4-1 Colts head to Foxborough to take on the 4-4 Patriots. Any chance Sam Ellinger can do his best to save Frank Reich's job, or do you think New England gets above 500?
We're done, Alex. I mean,
Yeah, I tend to agree.
so yeah, the Patriots are going to get to 500. I mean, and this is nothing against Sam. I think Sam played well, and we will get to that combo. But it's just from the actions of Jim Irsay and Chris Ballard, the Colts don't care.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that here in a few, but I agree completely. So big opportunity for the Patriots to take care of business at home and get to 5-4. How about Zach Wilson in this game against the Jets or against the Patriots at home? An opportunity to snap that long ass losing streak, and he throws 3 interceptions and struggles. 350 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, but 3 costly interceptions. How are you feeling about Zach Wilson at this point?
I mean, I still think Zach is a guy, and everybody struggles. It was a divisional game and stuff, but you can't have that kind of performance, especially when the media and everybody's like the Jets are back. This is New York Jets football is great again and all that kind of stuff. You
Yeah,
know, so you can't go out and play like that. But I think he bounces back.
I agree, but that's the thing, man. Playing in that hostile New York media, it's very similar to Chicago. You struggle, they're not going to be very patient with you.
No, but the team's doing just enough to keep the fans quiet. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, a winning record. Imagine if they pulled that out and were 6-2, then they'd be singing their praises. So 5-3 really isn't that bad.
no, it's not. Especially when, if you look at most of the league, besides the Bills and the Eagles and the Vikings and a few other teams, I mean, most of them have 3 or 4 losses.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's tough to win in this league, and everybody's jumbled up right now.
Yep.
On Sunday in week 9, the 6-1 Bills at the 5-3 Jets. Jets were 5-2 and feeling good, but now they're starting to get to the meat and potatoes section of their schedule. Division games that mean a lot. This is where we start to see the Jets come back to earth and show who they really are. I got the Bills winning this one in New York and the Jets falling to 5-4.
Oh yeah, the Bills do good, man.
But if the Jets can find a way to pull it out, everyone will be on their nuts. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't either.
Um, Now 2-5 Steelers at the 6-0 Eagles. The battle for Pennsylvania, and this one wasn't even close. The Eagles blow out the Steelers 35-13 at the Link. Jalen Hurts combines for almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, and star wide receiver AJ Brown 6 catches, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You can't. I mean, we got to give Jalen Hurts credit for how well he is playing, but it all centers around that acquisition of AJ Brown at the draft, and the addition of AJ Brown has made life so much easier for Jalen Hurts. Don't you agree?
Man, that is the best trade I've seen in years.
Yeah,
AJ Brown has, I mean, it's a team game, but single handedly, bro, he has made the Eagles one tough team to beat.
yeah. He's an
And
absolute monster, and I agree. He's right there with anybody for best receiver in the game.
I mean, I have to, you know, next to Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill and, guys like that, he'd have to be up there in the top five.
Absolutely. I mean, personally, give me AJ Brown over probably anybody. Honestly, you can have Tyreek Hill. Who else did you say?
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I like Stephon Diggs. You can have those two guys. Give me AJ Brown and damn it, Debo Samuel when healthy.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
I love those guys, and also DK Metcalf, man. I like those big bodied receivers, man. You can't stop them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's guys like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson too. So
Yeah. We're in a golden era of receivers, don't you agree?
yeah, and I haven't seen this much talent in quite a long time.
Yep. Steelers continue to start rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett. He combines for 200 plus yards, but zero touchdowns and two turnovers. George Pickens, the much hyped rookie wide receiver, targeted three times for zero catches. What do you think about the Steelers team? I mean, they're in a tailspin, and I don't see it getting any better. I think this is going to be a really tough year, and I don't know if Kenny Pickett is the guy. I mean, I think it's too early to tell, but he's struggled pretty badly so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. So, do I get credit for saying that the Steelers were going to take a step back?
Yes, absolutely. I didn't anticipate them benching Trubisky as early as they did, and I didn't see them being as bad as they were. Offensive line, they really struggle. Offensive coordinator is pretty bad. And in turn, Najee Harris has been completely non-existent this year, right?
Yeah, and see, in my opinion, Alex, this is just basically getting Pickett experience for the future.
Yeah, but
This
man, is it ugly.
It is ugly, and Steelers fans are not going to be used to that. And unfortunately, I can see Mike Tomlin having his first losing season.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, he's gonna need to have two or three of those before there even gonna be a hint of fire Mike Tomlin.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if Steelers fans even had thoughts of wanting him fired, they're crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Steelers trade wide receiver Chase Claypool to the Bears for a second round pick. What do you think of this move? I mean, is it smart to be taking away some of your best weapons away from your rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett? As smart as it is for the Bears to give a target to Justin Fields, is it dumb for the Steelers to send him away from Pickett?
I mean, he was struggling this season,
Yeah,
so you really can't say that. But I think this just is able to give more touches to George Pickens, and we're gonna see him shine, dude. I mean, he has talent, bro, and he's gonna be good.
yeah, I agree. Give Pickens more targets. Put him out there as wide receiver one, wide receiver two, and just throw it to him a lot. That's what I would do too.
Because
Any worry? Go ahead.
he was injured most of his senior year in Georgia, when he got drafted, and that's why he got drafted, in the later rounds. But he's gonna be special too.
Yeah. Um. Is there any worry to Chase Claypool? I mean, he's struggled this year. Is he not going to be the guy Bears are hoping, or do you think a fresh start for him, he does better
Fresh start, I think he does better. I think it was just the whole Pittsburgh Steelers were, you know,
in a
not.
funk?
Yep, yep. It's it's not a rebuild, but it is, especially at the quarterback spot.
Yeah. Um,
So
we've been lucky and had some pretty good Thursday night games to this point. All of them have been pretty damn good. But we're in for a rude awakening this Thursday as the 7-0 Eagles travel to Houston to take on the 1-5-1 Texans. I anticipate a bloodbath.
I do too. That's gonna be a game that's gonna be over by halftime.
Yeah, it should be. Go Texans though, go Lovey Smith, but man, the Eagles just look too good at this point. How crazy
Yeah,
would that be though if the Texans handed Philly their first loss?
I mean, it's the NFL, so it wouldn't be surprising because they're all on the level playing field when it comes to talent because they're all pros.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
know,
mean, you never know.
yeah,
Uh
the NFL is the hardest game to win I've ever seen in competitive sports.
yeah, absolutely. The 2-6 Steelers head to their bye week and will look to, regroup. Um and see if they can get Kenny Pickett playing better, see if they can get their young guys playing better. It's going to be a long season in Pittsburgh, I anticipate. So,
So, what was the point of signing Trubisky if I feel like this was Tomlin's plan the whole time?
well, I don't know if it was Tomlin's plan, but it was probably ownership's plan to, bring in Trubisky, but not really give him a chance to be the guy. He's just filling in a role. He's doing that whole Tyrod Taylor role, Ryan Fitzpatrick role, where you plug him in, see, Jacoby Brissett role, see how well he does for a couple weeks, and then get the rookie in there. That was the plan all along, in my opinion, and it's unfortunate because Trubisky never got a real shot at being the quarterback.
Can I say this, man? Some of these owners think that they know what's best for the team when they're in the offices, bro. They're not. I mean, they don't show up to practice every day, and you have to start trusting the coach's words. I mean, I'm sure Tomlin believed in Trubisky.
Yeah, but that's ownership, and when you got hundreds of billions of dollars and you can do whatever you want, and you can buy a team that gives you the power to meddle and to, you're the owner, so you can legit do whatever you want. So they shouldn't, but they do. And when you got that much money, you feel like you're smart enough to do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Um, I mean, if I had that much money, you couldn't tell me anything, anyways, right?
I'd
uh,
ask you for a couple $100 here and there, but yeah,
Titans at Texans. Yeah, Malik Willis does his thing, protects the ball for the most part, and they pretty much build the offense around him and just feed Derrick Henry a lot. How do you think Malik Willis did for his first career NFL start?
yeah. I mean, he did. Like you said, what he had to do. His job was to go out there and get a win, and that's what he did.
Yep. And then
You
Derrick
know,
Henry, man, we were kind of trying to write him off, with injuries, the way his season ended last year and all that. He still is the same old monster so far this year, and he absolutely ate up the Texans.
yeah. I mean, he did that last week against Indy.
Yeah. What do you
But
what do you think of these Titans? I mean, they're 5-2. They're well on their way to winning that division. Um, they lose Julio Jones, they lose AJ Brown, but they're still pretty damn good. I mean, decent.
yeah, and I credit Mike Vrabel, man. He's just a good coach.
He
He,
is.
and his problem is, I think he lacks a great quarterback away from them being Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, but I mean, Tannehill is serviceable. You can win with Tannehill. They made it to the AFC Championship game with Tannehill. Derrick Henry needs to be, the monster that he is on a week to week basis. And hopefully they get Ryan Tannehill back because the big game, primetime Sunday night football in week 9, the 5-2 Titans go to Arrowhead to take on Patrick Mahomes and the 5-2 Chiefs. Big game.
Oh yeah, that's a huge game.
Yeah. Go Titans. Give me
Huh.
Give me the Titans. I mean, the Chiefs are probably going to win, but I'm always picking the Titans in this matchup. Give me Derrick Henry versus Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Well, you'll never hear me say go Titans, and there's a reason behind that. But I gotta go with Chiefs.
As much as, we like Malik Willis and kind of discredit or, don't think Ryan Tannehill is elite, who do you think gives the Titans a better shot to win on Sunday night? Tannehill or Malik Willis?
Well, Tannehill, for the simple fact that Malik Willis has never started in that kind of environment.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good take.
That's a
I'm
very,
surprised we just passed the trade deadline. I'm surprised that Brandon Cooks wasn't moved from the Texans.
yeah. I know. Indy was a player in that,
Yeah.
and he could have added some much needed depth.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll be interested in keep an eye on all that. let's go to this game, the game you were at on Sunday. The 3-4 Commanders at the 3-1 Colts. So the big news of the week was Matt Ryan getting benched in favor of Sam Ellinger. Sam Ellinger making his first career start at home against the Commanders, but I was leaning Taylor Henneke and the Commanders just because it's Sam's first career start. And the Colts, it was just such a weird decision to bench Matt Ryan like that while you're at 500 and kind of tank the season, kind of punt the season away. And you were there. Colts are up 16-7 in the fourth quarter, but the Commanders rally to win 17-16. Taylor Henneke starts that final drive with a huge 4th-and-1 conversion. This is where, when I saw this, I was like, Henneke's got that it factor. He was stepping up into a hole on 4th-and-1, and he sees Yannick Ngakoue coming up through that hole, and is like, oh shit, slams on the brakes, escapes out the back of that hole, rolls to his right, and delivers a pass for the first down on 4th-and-1. That, to me, that looked like a 10-year, 15-year vet. Henneke looked great on that play. Do you see that one live?
Oh yeah, it made me angry, but you know, but
I mean,
yeah,
because
I mean,
that's Yannick Ngakoue. If he gets his hands on him, that's a sack.
yeah. Credit to Taylor and the Commanders, man. Actually, watching them play live, they're not a terrible team.
Yeah, and Henneke provides that spark that Carson Wentz did not. If anything, Carson Wentz is going to throw for a lot of yards, but he's going to turn the ball over. Henneke does a much better job protecting the ball.
And I think Carson may not come back as a starter, Alex. If Henneke can go on a run here and get them almost close to win like 4 or 5 more games, I think Carson's done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it might already be written, that Wentz is done and Henneke has provided the spark. And you go with the spark, especially when you're a 500 team looking to take that step forward. Henneke with a huge pass to Terry McLaurin to get him down to the 1 yard line. And my question is this: McLaurin makes that catch and rips off his helmet and is celebrating, and no flag. Yet DJ Moore does it in the back of the end zone, and that's a flag. There's multiple instances on Sunday where I saw players take their helmet off on the field and not get flagged. Yet DJ Moore, in the final seconds, gets flagged. If the NFL is gonna, call these penalties, they need to be more consistent. Don't you agree?
Absolutely, yeah. And they need to, sit there and yeah, basically, if you're going to call it once, call it, all around the league.
Yeah, and my suggestion is don't call it at all.
And
Simple as
you
that.
want to know something though? Being there live in person, so that catch by McLaren was even more impressive because Stephon Gilmore had that ball picked,
Yeah, he did.
and McLaren just grabbed it out of his hands, like over, outpowered him, outmuscled him.
Yep, just wanted it more, right?
Yep, and man, what a play! And you're gonna hear that name in the next upcoming years. I mean, that dude can be a baller.
Absolutely, I agree. What do you think? Well, how did Sam Ellinger do in your opinion for his first career start?
He did what I thought he should have done. He had that bad fumble, but at the end of the day, when you're under pressure like that, you're gonna fumble when there's somebody in your face.
Yeah,
But he okay. Matt Ryan should have played and started, but Sam adds what Ryan couldn't do, and that's when you have a bad line, he's mobile. He can move.
yep.
And
Well,
Sam got out of trouble a lot, but he was accurate. Did you see there was a throw to man, where was that throw? Oh, a throw I can't remember, but I know like it was a throw that a lot of guys who are playing now in 5, 6 years struggle to make. So Sam's accuracy is still there. And
Nice.
that beautiful bomb to another wide receiver who's going to be, man, a straight big time name, Alec Pierce. I love that kid, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so the Titans, we just talked about it, how they fed the shit out of Derrick Henry with Malik Willis making his first career start. Sam Ellinger makes his first career start, but Jonathan Taylor is held to just 76 yards and a fumble loss. What are your thoughts on Jonathan Taylor getting lost in all this quarterback controversy? Is Jonathan Taylor, who was an absolute superstar last year, has had a pretty down year in comparison. How do you think all this chaos in Indy leaves Jonathan Taylor?
Oh, well, first of all, his performance is based on a bad ankle, Alex. He's had it since week one, and it's been a nagging injury for him.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Jonathan Taylor has to be thinking like, you know, I came, y'all drafted me to win games, and I mean, if I was him, I would be upset. At times when I'm healthy, I'm averaging 5 yards a carry, and my coach only gives me 10 carries. It's like he loses trust in me.
Well, and to that point, I think this is the last year he's going to have to deal with that head coach. I think Frank Reich is not only on the hot seat, he should be fired ASAP. Did you get that impression from any other fans when you were there?
Do you really want to know that?
Yes, I do. Share it with the podcast.
Okay, so I'm sitting there, and after the Commanders scored that game-winning beautiful drive by Henneke, the fans started chanting, and I mean, there had to be 70,000 fans there, probably 50,000 of them chanting "Fire Frank," and that's even as you're walking out of the stadium, getting on the escalator, you hear "Fire Frank," and then even going to your car, dude, it was all over. I
Yeah,
mean, Colts fans are fed up, and we're not used to being this. I mean, the Colts historically are a winning franchise,
yeah,
so when we lose, we get pissed. But it's like Frank Reich likes to test sports fans' intelligence, and it kind of pisses off because it's like, dude, why would you do something that deep down is not a good play? I mean, it's 4th and 6, or no. Let me go back. For example, 3rd and 12, and you're struggling to run the ball, and you run it. You're trying to run it in between the tackles when you can't do that against a good D line like the Commanders.
yeah. With Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and those boys up front.
Yeah, I mean, you have speed. You can beat them doing stretch plays and taking it to the flats and all that, and you can constantly are running between the tackles. It's like, dude, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, I get Matt Nagy vibes from Frank Reich. I have for a couple years, and I agree with the fans of Indy and you. I think it's time to fire Frank Reich.
But
And then, yeah, go ahead.
the problem is, Alex, him and Ursay's relationship is pretty good, and I don't think Ursay wants him gone. But if they don't make the playoffs and they finish with, I can see finishing with 5 wins at most.
Yeah,
And you know, Ursay's going to have to do what's best for business.
yeah. I mean, regardless of the relationship, it's a business, and I think that this will be Reich's last season as Colts head coach, and we'll see who they go get and what they do with the quarterback position. On top of that, the Colts today trade running back Naheem Hines to the Buffalo Bills. The Bills get richer, and you got to see the last game of Naheem Hines as a Colt.
Yeah, that was awesome. It now it's considered a bittersweet moment just because I've always had been a big fan of Naheem Hines. I mean, he's Mr. Reliable, barely missed games, and always made that play to keep you in the game, and from 2018 to 2022, fun fact for our fans is he's the running back with the most catches. So,
Nice.
he's pretty reliable. And the Bills just got what they needed. Their
Yeah,
their their
yeah,
champion thing should be sealed.
you did get Zach Moss back in that trade, but I like it for Buffalo because you add Naheem Hines to Devin Singletary. That's a nice 1-2 punch. And, both of them can catch passes.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
exciting. So,
But
yeah, Vikings at Commanders in week 9. That's a trap game for Minnesota. We'll see if the Commanders can pull it out or not. Um, let's go 49ers at Rams. So, if you remember in week 4, these two teams played, and um, the Niners won at home and by a decent margin, 24-9. Or is that right? I think it was 20. Yeah, it was like 24-9 in week 4. And they win on Sunday, this time in SoFi, 31-14. Bro, what do you think of the job the 49ers have done against the Rams? They seem to own them in the regular season, and to go into LA and beat them by 3 scores is very impressive.
yeah, for sure, man. And I'm very surprised by how bad the Rams are struggling. I mean, this team is really almost the same, with the same guys returning as last year, and they're not playing very well.
Yeah, I mean they did lose Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr. They replaced OBJ with Allen Robinson, but Allen Robinson's starting to play better. I think it's a lack of a running game is really hurting the Rams, and then Stafford not protecting the football. But to his credit, he protected it pretty well in this game. Um, but the Niners, I mean, you see right there how good the Niners can be. They do this. Debo Samuel played a major role in the Week 4 win in San Francisco. So going to LA without Debo was out with a hamstring injury. This had to be advantage Rams. And for the Niners to go in there and beat them as badly as they did, that's a statement ass win. And how about Christian McCaffrey combines for 183 yards and 3 touchdowns and becomes only the third player ever in NFL history to throw, catch, and run for a touchdown all in one game, and the first player since LaDainian Tomlinson. The only two guys other than Christian McCaffrey joins the list of just Walter Payton, LaDainian Tomlinson, and now Christian McCaffrey to do that. And he's the first player in 49ers team history to accomplish that. What a game for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, you took the stats right out of my mouth. I was gonna say that about LT and
And
uh,
Walter Payton, I mean, how about that company?
yeah, that's you don't get no bigger,
Yeah,
and but McCaffrey showing out there that he could be a quarterback too,
yeah,
but just a hell of a player. And I think a healthy McCaffrey, the 49ers struck gold.
yeah. I do too. Now, I don't like trading away Jeff Wilson. I would have kept Jeff Wilson as well. Because you never know if Christian McCaffrey suffers an injury. He's been known for it throughout his career. So for the 49ers, knock on wood that McCaffrey stays healthy because when healthy, he's an absolute monster. Um, Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. He protects the ball. Even with Debo out, Brandon Ayuk steps up with 81 yards and a touchdown. Um, but the biggest question here, bro, is what's wrong with the Rams? I mean, Stafford throws for less than 200 yards, 1 touchdown, no turnovers, right? We've been criticizing Stafford for the turnovers and saying that's why the Rams are losing. But for Stafford to have no turnovers and still get beat by 3 scores at home, there's obviously something wrong here with the Rams. I think it's the running game, but you saw Tyler Higbee with a big drop. Cooper Kupp once again held under 100 yards. The Rams offense seems to have lost some of its power, don't you think?
Yeah, and what's crazy to me is that that's Sean McVay's strength. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's just people are catching on and stuff, but I don't know what their struggle is. I mean, it could be a championship hangover, like a lot of teams have, but I can't tell you what's going on in LA.
Yeah, and if they don't win on Sunday, they're gonna fall to 3-5. And it's no easy test as they're going on the road to face the GOAT. 3-4 Rams at the 3-5 Bucks. The loser of this game is hanging by a thread their playoff hopes, you know?
Yep.
So massive game on Sunday. The Niners, huge win. They fell to 3-4. Who'd they lose to last week? Do you remember?
The Chiefs.
Yeah, they got blown out by the Chiefs, fall to 3-4, and it's like, damn, the Niners are under 500. Like, but they get to 4-4. They head to their bye week at 500, and to me, man, the Niners are the best 4-4 team in football. Like, their record doesn't indicate the Niners are true Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean that's usually what the Niners are. They don't have always the greatest regular season record, but as soon as they get in the playoffs, they know how to win.
Yeah, exactly. They'll finish 10-7, 9-8, sneak into the playoffs, and then win on the road.
And that's what makes Kyle Shanahan so good, man, is man, I would love to have a nice young coach like him, dude. He's just his mind offensively is just incredible.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're raised by Mike Shanahan, one of the best ever.
Yep.
Big game here. So I this is my favorite call of the weekend. If you remember last week, I picked the Jags to beat the Giants, and I was 1 yard away, and I wanted that one bad. And the Giants were 6-1, and it was like we need to start taking this Giants team seriously. I went ahead and picked the Seahawks to upset it, doubled down, but got it to go through. The Seahawks not only win, but win by two scores, 27-13 over the Giants. The Seahawks take over first place in the NFC West. And what do you think, man? The Seahawks now 5-3, first place in the division. Are the Seahawks for real? Like, what's going on in Seattle?
I mean, they're playing good, and they have a lot more wins than what I thought they'd have
Yeah, credit to
already.
Gino, but bro, I honestly think the X factor, the reason they're doing so well lately, is that running back over there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, give him credit. He's playing well, and he's going to continue to play well.
And
But
then to his credit, Geno Smith is feeding DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Like, I had my worries about how well those receivers are going to do without Russell Wilson. Geno Smith is absolutely balling.
oh yeah, he is. Give him credit where credit's due. But then, again, bro, I like to give credit to Pete Carroll. I mean, them players don't perform well if he doesn't have, schematically, you know, plans the game for them to be able to be comfortable with Geno's skill set to win that game.
Absolutely. I've always thought Pete Carroll was a hell of a coach. He got a lot of shit in Seattle at times. Even last year, they were calling him a dinosaur. Like, our 70-year-old coach doesn't know how to win in the modern NFL game, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, Seattle fans they, a lot of them don't really know what they're talking about. And Pete Carroll, huh?
Seattle fans sound like Chicago fans.
Yeah, well, Chicago fans are very passionate too, but I agree. There's bad fans of every team, but is often the loud majority that you're like, what the hell's going on there?
You know,
um, what's that?
oh no, I was just gonna say that Pete Carroll could have these guys. I mean, if they continue to play well, on the verge of a playoff run or a playoff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If they win the division, they'll be hosting a playoff game in Seattle, and we all know how big of a home field advantage that is.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the big things that really cost the Giants in this game, punt returner, wide receiver Richie James, two fumbled punt returns in this game, both recovered by the Seahawks. One in the first quarter that set the tone, one in the fourth quarter that pretty much buried them.
Yep, turnovers will kill you.
Yep. Um, Seahawks linebacker. Do you know this name, Uchenna Nwosu?
Yes, I do.
Wearing, I believe he's wearing number 10. He's a baller for Seattle. 2 sacks in this game. He's got 5 on the season, and last year he set his career high with 5 for the Chargers. So he's already at 5 sacks through week 8. He's having a big year in Seattle, career year.
Yeah, and that's what Seattle needed with Russell Wilson being gone is like, players on both the offense and defense to step up.
Yep. And credit to the Seahawks defense. Daniel Jones combines for less than 200 yards, and Saquon Barkley combines for just 62 yards.
Yeah, that's uh, good defense over there against. I mean, were you right about the Giants? Maybe we were over exaggerating about how good they are.
I think there's a chance, another hot take coming here. Commanders are 4-4, Giants are 6-2. I think there's a chance the Commanders catch the Giants.
I mean, the Commanders have a better quarterback to be able to do it.
Yeah, Taylor Heinicke's doing his thing. I mean, can you outright say Taylor Heinicke's better than Daniel Jones at this point, though?
Absolutely.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I mean, so it's gonna
Look,
be something to keep an eye on. And what if I told you this? This is one of those ESPNs. What if I told you? What if I told you that the Giants would start the season 6-1 and finish last place in the division?
ooh, that would be a pretty hot take. So let me say this real quick. I know people are gonna call me crazy about liking Taylor Henneke so much, but man, I can't get over how much of a baller he is. And seeing him in person pretty much wrote that off for me that he has ice in his veins and a swagger.
Yeah, and bro, I was one of them. I laughed at you. I was like Taylor Henneke, he's not any good. You said that after the Bucks Washington playoff game, and I was like, they weren't in that game. Taylor Henneke, the Bucks were playing around, but Henneke is proving it. He's continuously proving it, and after a while, you have to acknowledge it. And that game against the Colts showed me a lot. He was clutch. You know, if he doesn't lead them on that game-winning drive in the final seconds, they lose. That was completely all Taylor Henneke. He looked poised, he looked in control, and he got it done. So I'm a believer now. He's better than Carson Wentz, and keep riding with him. And maybe who knows? Maybe they can sneak into the playoffs. They're not buried yet.
No, nope, absolutely not.
Let's go Sunday night football. The 3-4 Packers at the 5-1 Bills. Everyone, was all over the Bills in this game, saying the Packers had no shot. They jump out to a 24-7 halftime lead and hang on to win 27-17. They didn't exactly blow the Packers out or bury them, but they got a big win. Um, what do you think? I mean, we know how good the Bills are. Let's talk about the Packers. They fall to 3-5. What do you think about this Packers? Did they show you something by keeping it close against Buffalo? Or is this Packers team kind of in trouble? Where are you leaning right now?
Unfortunately, Alex, my favorite quarterback of all time is in trouble.
I mean, it's because of the situation around him, though, right? Aaron Rodgers has still got it, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he still has it, but man, a lot of his guys just can't catch the ball.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that's something we've been preaching all offseason, isn't it? Didn't we keep saying on the podcast, hey, Packers, go get Odell Beckham Jr., go get Julio Jones, go get T.Y. Hilton, get somebody.
yeah, I don't understand why they haven't. You know, one we've watched football for many, many years. We know what just that one guy can bring a spark. Just one
Yeah,
guy.
look at Philly with AJ Brown, one guy. Look at how big of a difference.
We've seen Ingram last year going to the Chiefs. I mean, he completely made that defense way better.
Yep.
You know, so
Sometimes that's all it takes.
one guy, one leader can come, and that's what Green Bay needs. I mean, go get Odell. I mean, I know that there's still question about if he's ready to play now, but go get him. He's a veteran. He can get those guys better.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about this? The Vikings go and add TJ Hawkinson at the trade deadline. The Bears go and add Chase Claypool at the trade deadline. And there's a gif of that, and then or a meme. And then the Packers are like, what do we get? And it's a rock. I mean, why do the Packers I mean it's funny, but like why do the Packers never, ever, ever make a move to help out their at receiver or anything? They don't add.
I don't know what it is, Alex, but you know, I mean, if I was Rodgers, I would be pushing it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is the guy there, and he's the one that they're paying the money to. He needs to really go up to the ownership and say, "Look, I need this, or we suck."
Man, he was doing that what 2, 3 years ago, and he was on his way out. And somehow, somewhere along the lines, they patched things up and made amends. Bro, that never should have happened. Aaron Rodgers should have stuck to his guns and left Green Bay because there's nothing good for him in Green Bay. They're not surrounding him with enough talent to win, and they might miss the playoffs this year. And how is Aaron Rodgers going to feel if that happens?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think he might request a trade because all this retirement stuff that I'm hearing about him at the end of the season, I don't believe it because Aaron Rodgers is one of the best competitors ever. He's not going out that way.
Yeah, you know, so go to a team that needs a quarterback that's in position to contend and see if you can win a championship and then retire, like John Elway or Peyton Manning, any of these guys,
Hey, Rodgers, you would look beautiful in white and blue.
Hey, there you go. But does Jim Irsay want to do it again? Does he want to bring in a veteran quarterback again? That's the big
Well,
question.
well, let me tell you, Alex, there's a big between this veteran quarterback and the other veteran quarterbacks he's brought in.
Yeah, but some of your Facebook followers would say you said the exact same thing about Matt Ryan this offseason.
Well, I mean, Matt Ryan still gives you the best chance to win, and you can argue with that, but I'm gonna tell you to watch football because at the end of the day, like I said, he has experience. He's a former MVP. You know, he's
Yeah,
kind of dealing with the same situation. Just a bad coach who can't make anything great. I mean, come on now.
yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I don't think it's Matt Ryan's fault, and I think that he was unfairly benched. So I agree. Let's go. I mean, so real quick on the Buffalo Bills, they're 6-1. They add Naheem Hines, who you said is a big deal, already.
Very big deal.
Yeah. They add Dean Marlowe, a safety from Atlanta. And real quick, I don't know if many people are talking about this. Guess who's coming back off the pup list?
Tre'Davious White.
Yup. Look
Oh,
out, man. Here comes corner number one, star, one of the best corners in football. Here's 6-1. Here come Naheem Hines and Tre'Davious White.
hey, Alex, I am sticking to my guns. 14-3.
All right. And are you sticking to your guns? Bills were going to win the championship?
Absolutely, dude. If they don't, this is a major failure, bro. They have the best quarterback, the best defense in football. You have everything you need to go win the title.
You know what? I'm sticking with my bold prediction. You know what that is, right?
That the Bills lose in the AFC Championship game.
No, close. One step further. You know this. What's Bills history?
Oh yeah, 0-4 in the Super Bowl.
Yes, they go to the Super Bowl, but they lose. I'm such a hater, aren't I?
You know what though? This team's different, dude. You know, I mean,
Man, man, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, and Andre Reed and Bruce Smith. That team was different too.
Josh Allen, in my opinion, is already better than Jim Kelly.
Get the hell out of here. Watch more football.
Oh, look at that talent, man. That dude is special, bro. 6'6" hurdling people. I mean, man.
Next, you're gonna say Dak Prescott's better than Troy Aikman.
Now, come on. I'm not that bad.
All right, let's go. Monday night. I mean, bro, everyone picked the Bengals to win, but only Alex picked the Browns. How surprised were you to see the Browns just dog walk the Bengals in Cleveland on Monday night?
Yeah, that's the thing is that's what surprised me. I actually thought it was gonna be a good game, you know,
Yeah,
but
I did too.
I didn't expect Cleveland to come out and play like that. But Nick Chubb, man, he's the real deal.
He is, and the Browns. You see how many times they brought in extra O linemen and just said, "You can't stop us."
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
I like that mindset of just you can't stop us, so we're just gonna keep running it at you. And they blew him out. What's wrong? So Jamar Chase, out. I mean, they talked about it. He missed that game. Jamar Chase is gonna miss more than just that game. He's out 4 to 6 weeks with a hip injury.
Yeah, and I was telling people, that's a big loss.
It is. I mean, they still have T. Higgins. They still have Tyler Boyd. But you can't replace Jamar Chase. He's an absolute monster. And when you have all three of those, that's what makes him special.
Absolutely.
Um, we saw Christian McCaffrey throw for a pass. Amari Cooper, is a great receiver. Let's stop asking Amari Cooper to throw the ball. He throws it one time for an interception. But a big win to get him to 3-5, and we all know Deshaun Watson's waiting to come back soon.
Yep, they were talking about that last night on the broadcast.
Yeah. Um, Miles Garrett, how about this? He had 1.5 sacks last night. In 75 career games played, Miles Garrett has 66 sacks.
Wow, man, that dude's just a beast.
What a monster. Um, 2-6, yeah. So Browns go to their bye. How about the Bengals? They fall to 4-4. I mean, I believe I don't know. Did you pick the Bengals to win the division, or did you take the Ravens?
I had picked Cincinnati.
Okay, how are you feeling about the Bengals? Last night was a perfect opportunity to get to 5-3 and be right there with the Ravens. Most people anticipate it's going to be a battle between the Ravens and Bengals to win that division. A big loss on the road in Cleveland, and it wasn't even competitive last night. Um, Burrow threw for almost 500 yards the week before. So right now the Bengals are very up and down. Do you think they can figure it out? It doesn't help that Jamar Chase is hurt right now.
Yeah, you know that being out is huge. Him not playing is he's their best player, and
Yeah. Do you think the Bengals can turn it around and make the playoffs, or will they?
I mean they have the talent to do it. Yes, but it's just some of them other receivers have to step up.
Yep. So, I mean, that's going to do it for this week. Great action, a lot of great football, a lot of trades happening at the deadline. I can't wait for week 9, bro.
Yeah. So one question for you: do you think in the next couple of weeks we see another midseason firing or what?
Um, who do you think would be who would you fire mid-season? Who are you thinking? Do you have anybody you thought?
I mean, I'm thinking somebody like if Arizona loses this game, I think Cliff could be gone. Or I think if there's enough fans complaining about it, Frank Reich could be gone.
Yeah. I think there'll be somebody later in the year, week 10, week 11, week 12. I think someone will get fired. Yeah. Usually there's at least one. Um if I was the Cardinals, I would have fired Cliff Kingsbury a couple years ago. If I was the Colts, I would have fired Frank Reich a couple years ago. So those are both a long time coming. We did have Matt Rule fired midseason.
Frank Reich, why would you fire an offensive coordinator who doesn't have his handprints on the offense?
Same reason Matt Rule fired Joe Brady last year on the Panthers, because Joe Brady's a hell of an offensive play caller. The reason you fire Marcus Brady is because you know you're on the hot seat, so you're trying to deflect blame. It's the same reason Matt Ryan was benched. Frank Reich knows his time is coming, and he's throwing everybody else under the bus to save his own ass.
That's not right to do, man. That's not how you run a organization.
No, but you see it happen in football, and those are the signs to see it coming. When they start benching the quarterback, when they start firing the OC, you know that they're up next. All
Yep.
right, well, good shit as always, Dustin. Appreciate all the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We'll keep these episodes coming out. Stay tuned for a big interview coming up soon with a former NFL quarterback. So stay tuned. Appreciate it. Good shit as always, Dustin.
Yeah, and Thursday we have a special guest in Pablo too. So
Yep, Thursday we're gonna have Ravens fan Pablo on the show. We've been on his show a few times. He's been on our show a few times. We're gonna talk Roquan Smith, Ravens, Bears, Colts, etc. And get ready for Week 9. So uh, stay tuned for the college football podcast as well. And good shit as always, Dustin. Thanks, guys.
yep, thanks
Peace
guys.
out.